In 1975, a group of academics from the West Australian University filmed the actions of Lillee and Thomson, along with West Indians Andy Roberts and Michael Holding, during a test match at the WACA ground. Using high-speed cameras, they were able to calculate, for the first time, just how fast these express-pace bowlers were.
Well, I think it was part of an ongoing study into fast bowling, and we really wanted to know how quick these guys actually bowled. And there weren't two better exponents around at the time than Jeff Thomson and Dennis Lillee. So I think we'd been investigating low back injuries and fast bowling and just the initial phase of it. And so we wanted to have a look at these guys actually bowling in the middle. And the WACA let us get out into the ground to do this filming. So that was a first, and it was a very exciting time.
It was a time when really no research had been done on fast bowling at all, and people were interested to see how quickly they actually could bowl. So quite simply, that was what it was for, was just test the speed of bowlers, to see what the differences were from different countries, and to see if different characteristics were related to different body types.
Dennis said, we knew the filming was going on, and he said, look, the third ball of my second over will be the quickest I bowl all day. And it was by about 10 k an hour, or miles per hour in those days, and was his slowest delivery for the whole day.
It was interesting. We thought the bigger people would naturally be the quickest, but the Thomsons of the world, that turned out to be very, very quick in those days, showed that it's the distance that you move the ball through. In other words, how far you can move the ball. So his action enabled him to put all his muscles on stretch. It enabled him to move the ball through a large displacement. And by doing that, he actually could achieve what a much taller bowler could do anyway.
Lillee, who was far from his best on that day, recorded a speed of 139 kilometres an hour. A young Michael Holding bowled at 148.54. Andy Roberts, who was also unwell, recorded a fastest of 150.67 kilometres an hour, whilst Jeff Thomson sent down one delivery officially timed at 160.45. This was acknowledged as the fastest delivery ever recorded and was to become the benchmark for the next 3 decades.
There's been a great deal of interest since that time, but now with Brett Lee and Shoaib Akhtar, obviously, you know, the speed of bowling has become very much an important part in international cricket again. But it's an exciting thing to think that somebody can bowl a ball at 100 miles an hour, and I have no doubt that during his career, quite often Jeff Thomson did that.
In 1979, using the same high-speed film cameras, a group of fast bowlers was assembled to contest the world's fastest bowler competition in Perth. They included Lillee and Thomson, Roberts and Holding, Imran Khan, Colin Croft, Garth LaRue and Richard Hadlee. In near 40-degree heat, only 2 bowlers managed more than 140 kilometres an hour.
130.4, that's Dennis Lillee's fastest to date. Imran Khan, he's been pressing Thomson all day. He was quickish too. 139.1.
Michael Holding bowled at 141.3.
But it certainly looked pretty quick.
But it was Jeff Thomson who was consistently faster than anyone else. His quickest delivery was timed at 147.9 kilometres an hour, giving him an easy victory. He won the money for the fastest delivery and also for the most accurate bowler.
Oh, middle stump as well.
I wasn't even playing. It was the year I got banned from cricket. And Channel 9, the guys from 9 said, Tomo, you've got to go in this. You're the fastest bowler. You've got to win this. And I said, hang on, I'm not even playing. So I went in the bloody thing and won it. And all I've been doing is drinking beer sitting on my backside for months.
Throughout the next decade, a new pace attack ruled the cricket world. The West Indies dominated all their opponents, using not just 2, but 4 express pace bowlers in their attack.
Is out and Walters is out. LBW to Andy Roberts.
We first faced Roberts, Holding, Garner and Croft. And then when Andy Roberts dropped out, you had Malcolm Marshall came in there. And I mean, crikey's, either of those quartets, you could probably toss a coin which of those quartets are the best, but it didn't matter which of those 4 you faced. It was tough as hell.
Oh, nasty one.
To be exposed to that constant barrage, it really does mentally get them. And I saw guys that could, hold a bat and against a normal attack would be able to, average 15 to 20 in the tail, but these guys were certainly intimidated and they were worried about going out and batting.
And he's out, he's giving him...
When I was playing for South Australia against the West Indies, I was so thrilled that they used to say that they would target the best player. And Marshall got me in the side of the head, Malcolm Marshall got me in the side of the head, and I thought, gee, they must really rate me as a player for him to launch an assault. And that was a pretty nasty one, didn't really see it, and thankfully a helmet on and, as well protected as I could be from a safety point of view, and flush in the side of the noggin and down you went. But when I woke up, I thought, gee, they must really rate me, yeah.
What are your recollections of facing Andy Roberts?
He was just a real quality bowler. Didn't say much, just got on with the job. But I think that the weapon that he had, in particular for my style of game where I'd like to hook, was that he'd maybe allow you to get away with a hook shot, but then the next one will be twice as quick. And one day at the Wacker, when I did have a cap on, I hooked him. And next ball, I thought it was the same delivery, went to hook, and it just brushed the side. It actually brushed the side of my cap. So I certainly put the hook shot in the cupboard for the rest of the day that day.
They're all a bit different, where Andy used to bounce a bit, Michael used to slide a bit, because he used to sort of bowl off, didn't get a high delivery stride. But yeah, on his day, Michael was frightening a couple of times here at Perth. In a one-day game, I remember that he was scary. But he was a nice bloke, Michael. In Sydney, he kept hitting me in the groin and and the stomach and so forth, and he came down and in his deep voice he said, Stumpy, have you any children? And I said, why? And he said, I hope you have. Because he hit me that many times. So he was that sort of bloke, so he was a nice bloke.
I was never afraid to be hurt by a fast bowler. I was there to do a job for the team and personally trying to get some runs. And when you're walking out there, you're probably trying to think of how they're trying to get you out, and you're obviously trying to think of where you can score runs. But I don't think I was ever, physically intimidated by them. But just certainly, that fear of failure, which tried to, you try to get your best performance against them. And I think, as I say, you tried to think of how they were going to get you out.
For War Endwood, it was a morning of living dangerously.
Oh, and he got out of the way, he was on the move, and
both used body as well as bat to fend off the punishingly ruthless assault, Graham Wood surviving, but only just.
And that will be a bit painful.
The days of when there were unlimited bounces and no protective gear has to be the most intimidating eras of cricket, when they could bowl 8 bounces at you. You've got a batsman up that end for 8 balls, now it's 6 balls for a start. They've got no protective gear on or major protective gear on, and you can bowl 8 bounces if you like. So, those eras, I noticed clashes, Queensland versus Western Australia, Dennis Lilly bowling to Viv Richards in a Gillette Cup match. Those scenes are just very intimidating, and it wouldn't be easy with the men that were playing in those eras.
Rod Marsh just about to throw it up.
Oh, it's hit him somewhere around about the shoulder or neck. Oh!